Good morning and welcome back to my 2023 Tour Divide coverage. It is now day 18, I think. Sorry, I've lost track a little bit. It's been a long race for the riders and also me dot watching. But yeah, day 18 and we have a women's winner. So Lael Wilcox crossed the line, taking first place in the women's race, and Katya came in second not that too long ago. So yeah, what an exciting race that was. Lael really has had some health issues throughout the event, but she's kept on plodding through. And I'm not saying it's been easy for Katya or anyone else. So congratulations to everyone. So let's have a look at the leaderboard and see their exact times. So Lael came in. I think she was 17 days, 16 hours, something like that. So not really super close to her record of 15 days, 10 hours. But we know the conditions were very, very different from when she set that record. So, so 16 days, 20 hours. And then Katya came in 17 days and 8 hours. So yeah, fantastic results for both of them, and yeah, I'm sure they'll be very pleased. Well, very pleased to be finished at this moment, but very, very pleased with their rides in what has been a very tough edition of the Tour Divide, and they're still very fast times as well when we compare to previous women's times. So if you remember me saying, must have been over a week ago, Alexandra Huchin actually has it'll be the second fastest women's time after Lael's record run, and it was, I think it was 18 days, 10 hours, something like that, and that's her dot here. So you can see how fast this year's Tour Divide has been for the women. We have, April is pretty much level with that record time now for the Grand Depart, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 women under the previous fastest time for the Grand Depart, which is just really amazing actually, and it just goes to show the level. I mean, you know, we talked a lot about the right at the point at the end of the race. There's been some really fast men there, and they've been pushing Mike Hall's record time, but actually just goes to show. I mean, personally, I've had a feeling over the last few years that the bar has certainly risen across these events. Lots of new people have come in, certainly after COVID. This is from obviously a male perspective. And the events are harder and harder and faster, and there's more strength in depth than ever. But I think it really does show it in the women's field. The fact that there's 7 women ahead of that previous record for the Grand Depart, and they're all so close and they're still battling there. It's just incredible, and I think it really just shows the growth of bikepacking as a sport, and B, the growth of women's bikepacking, and I think people like Lael, people like Katya, they really are inspirational. So hopefully we'll see even more women on the start line next year. So now, while I'm just talking about this little battle here, let's just go over to Rider GPS and see where they all are. So they're heading through the Heelar. So it looks like Gail Brown, she's slept asleep now, so it's just before 2 a.m. And I think that is actually, there's a little campground there. So there's a Continental Divide Trail. Let's go on Rider GPS just so it's a little bit clearer. So they will be in this little section here. So it's pretty much the last significant off-road section of the race. Where are they? In here. So it's a bit of a climb up, as you can see. This little section here, and there is a campground at the bottom there, so it looks like Gail's probably stopped for the night early. There's a bit of a steep climb up. It's a little bit on and off the bike, and then there's a single track before the drop down. So it looks like Hannah Simon and Sasha Dow, they're riding together now. This is of course the race for third position in the women's race. Gail they're at 2:55, let's call it 4 miles. Gail is at 2:547, so that's 7 miles behind. It could go either way, and Gail's been really strong on the flat tarmac section. So after this little section, it is pretty much flat, predominantly tarmac, with that tiny bit of dirt sort of coming out of Silver City, as we've looked at the last couple of days. By the time we've finished, everyone's going to know exactly how to finish the Tour Divide. It's focus on this a lot. So yeah, the tarmac, the last bit of dirt, and then that long straight down to the finish there. Alexandra, she's a little bit further back, but still riding. So I wonder if she's going to try and do an all-nighter. So there is a chance if these women don't get moving fairly soon, we could see them all back together again. So yeah, really fascinating. So definitely one to keep an eye on. Now this is my penultimate update. I've got time for one more tomorrow. If I have to do it later in the day, I will, because I really want to try and see this group of women finish. Hopefully they'll do it within 24 hours or so. So yeah, just if you've enjoyed it, give us a subscribe for more coverage. I'll be doing the transcontinental race later in the year, in about a month's time, and yeah, I'm sure I'll be back to do the Tour Divide next year, because otherwise it seems to become quite popular. I think I might have a mutiny of riot on my hands if I don't do so. So that's the women's race. I did just have a little look at the run rest, because we've looked at it for the guys a bit, but not touched on it so much for the women. So let me just filter out the women and just see what is going on with those four riders. So we've got Sasha, Hannah, Gail, Alexandra. April's a little bit further back now. Again, she might be able to close up. And as you can see, we know Gail was ill early on. And actually the strongest or the fastest out of the lot is Hannah. She's been resting quite a lot, with only a just over 64% run time. Gail's been pushing it a bit more, and is riding a little bit faster. And then Alexandra, April, they're almost identical actually, which is quite cool. And then Sasha, she's just been pushing the sleep a bit more, it looks like. So it's going to be interesting into this last day. No more sleeps after this one. Does that mean Hannah's going to be able to ride faster? Is Gail going to be able to close down? And she's a lot fresher as well, having had to rest a bit earlier on. So yeah, really cool and interesting to see a good battle for the final position on the women's race. So I'll go across to, firstly I'll say thank you to Holyfat, as always. By now they've helped me do this, helped me get a new microphone, and hopefully make it slightly more professional than it was at the start. But I shall try and be a bit more professional for my next race coverage. Slow improvement, but yeah, Holyfat, they've helped me out. There's a discount code below, so yeah, big shout out to those guys. So I've got a bit of social media. So obviously Lael, we know that she took the win in the women's race. 16 days, 20 hours, 17 minutes. I really think it's from reading the social media and her posts, it's really been quite a tough race for her. Obviously it's been tough for everyone with the conditions, but it sounds like Lael was quite ill, and it sounds like she was fairly close to scratching. But she's pushed on through. And that's really great to see. And I think she remains an inspiration to a lot of people. So good work, Lael, on everything really. And there she is, heading home with her wife Rue. So yeah, that is the New Mexico sunrise. Looks quite tired now. That is the look of a Tour Divide finisher for sure. So some other things. April. This is just from the road the other day. It looks like the section after Pie Town. So that's the stop sign in Pie Town. Pioneer is that famous cafe. It's places like that Michael was a regular person to stop at. So yeah, it's kind of cool. Nice to see things on the road. And we've also talked a lot about Toaster House. It's not the clearest photo, but this is Toaster House, and the reason it's called Toaster House is because on the front fence there are just lots of toasters, as in to make toast. It's a bit random and a bit weird, but everyone knows it, and you can't really miss the fact that it is called Toaster House. So yeah, it's another staple for any Tour Divide racer passing through. So yeah, so that is that. And yeah, it looks like she stopped at the other cafe. So a good feed up for April before she takes on the final bit. And obviously April is Australian, and she says it looks just like South Australia. So she must feel at home now. Right, on to a few. It's mainly finishing photos now. I don't have anything from Katya yet, so hopefully we see something as a finisher's photo from her, or a little update in time for tomorrow's coverage. So this is Martin and Dan Connell. They look like they finished together yesterday. So yeah, a shared experience at that sign there, which is pretty cool to see. So yeah, it's a pretty surreal experience when you get there, and there's not many people in the world that do have experienced that. So yeah, it feels like you're part of something pretty special. Justinus, you may remember, finished second. He's actually just put a kind of a nice story of his Tour Divide. So yeah, I'm not going to show you everything now because we'll be here for hours. But yeah, if you want to have a look and sort of see Justinus's perspective on the race, then head over to his Instagram stories, and you can see some nice little kind of clips. Everyone's happy and smiley on that first morning, but I suspect that as you get along, there might be some suffering and some misery as well. So yeah, well worth, if you've got 10 minutes, have a little look and see if you can find anything interesting there. Another finishing photo, Stephen Herrick, he came in fourth. We didn't hear too much from him during the race, and normally post in French. So yeah, it's nice to see a little update from him. But yeah, I think it's left a mark on him. He's done a lot of riding and a lot of big adventures, and yeah, it's cool to see him finally finish the Tour Divide. So yeah, really nice guy. So well done, Stephen. And finally, Caleb finally got to the finish. We've seen a bit from him. He was pushing the pace early on, but then slowed down a little bit as the race caught up with him, and he had a few issues with both body and bike. So this was him. It's not the clearest of video, but it's probably accurate as to what you can see by that point when it's 2 a.m. That is the little finish straight coming into sight. 20 hours on the clock for the day. That's a big old day. And there he is, 16 days, 21 hours, 22 minutes. Finished the Tour Divide. I'm sure he is very pleased with himself, and yeah, it's a pretty cool experience. So yeah, that's all I've got for today. I'll be back tomorrow. Like I said, I'll try and leave it probably till a bit later in the day than I normally do, just so I can make sure I get that group of women finishing, because I think that'd be a really nice story to end on. And yeah, then I'm off racing myself, racing the Pan-Celtic race. I've got a bike check and a kit check video, so I'll be putting those out in the next couple of days too, so just keep an eye out for those. Give us a subscribe if you haven't done, then you won't miss those, or you might be fed up of listening to me by now, which is fair enough. So yeah, see you tomorrow for the last one, and yeah, thanks for watching.